Test. We want to welcome you to the Cottonwood Heights Planning Commission. Tonight's meeting will consist of the business session starting at 6 p.m. We are going to be reviewing the business items and have general public comments. Want to start off with any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest to disclose from the council or from the commission?
No.
Wonderful. Thank you. Moving forward, wanted to open up to general public comments, and this is an opportunity for individuals to make general public comments that do not relate to any projects scheduled for public hearing tonight under the business items in this section of the agenda. So we'll open up for public comments right now. It doesn't look like we have anybody online or in person for general public comments. So if you are here for the driveway project, we'll go over public comments on that here shortly. Absolutely. All right. If there's none, we will close general public comments and open up 3.0 for the business items. So in business item number 1, we are going to have a public hearing and recommendation of zoning text amendment related to minimum setbacks for chicken coops. And this is project ZTA-25-004. So if we could jump into that, that'd be great.
Is this on? There you go. Okay, perfect. 1 second. Okay. Perfect. So for ZTA 25004, this is a city-initiated zoning text amendment to update Chapter 8.13 chickens. Right now, the current code has a 40-foot setback from neighboring dwellings, and there are no enforcement provisions regarding keeping chickens. The proposed changes would include reducing the required setback for chicken coops to 25 feet from neighboring dwellings, and it would also include an enforcement provision that would enable the revocation of chicken permits after 3 ordinance violations. As some background, Cottonwood Heights has received inquiries from homeowners interested in owning chickens, but with yards that are not big enough to accommodate a 40-foot setback from neighboring dwellings. The current code only permits chickens in yards where they are located at least 40 feet from neighboring dwellings. But according to Salt Lake County Health Department, setbacks of 25 to 35 feet from neighboring dwellings are the most common. Reducing the setbacks to 25 feet would allow more residents within the city to keep chickens while still maintaining the recommended distance from neighboring dwellings. Code enforcement also requested an enforcement provision just to ensure that all other ordinances related to chickens are followed, which would help reduce any concerns about noise and odor. Staff findings are that the current code is more restrictive than many neighboring cities. Reducing setbacks would allow residents with smaller lots the opportunity to keep chickens. The 40-foot setback requirement is overly restrictive for some standard-sized residential lots, and an enforcement provision would give the city a greater ability to address any noncompliance when necessary. Oh, yeah. And then the staff recommends recommends forwarding a recommendation of approval to the city council.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's now open up to public comments. All right.
All here for the driveway.
Perfect. We'll close public comments on this and open up to commission discussion before a motion. So I think jumping into this, we had some great discussions in our working session as far as what adjacent cities are doing, as well as just some other things that we need to jump in and make some changes to this. So I believe Commissioner Anderson had some suggestions in that regards for verbiage in a minor change.
Do we have any further discussion on it? I mean, we talked about that we would change because the current requirement is that it's 3 feet from a property line, and we talked about changing that to 10 feet from the property line and keeping the 25 feet from neighboring dwellings. Okay. And those changes would need to be reflected throughout. There's some couple places where it's referenced. Okay.
Good, okay. The other thing that we discussed is the change
First enforcement, right?
that doesn't require
Observe. So I'd be happy to make a motion. I move that we forward a recommendation of approval for ZTA 25-004 with the following conditions: that changing the requirement from property line to 10 feet and keeping the 12 feet minimum from neighboring dwellings. 25 feet, sorry, thank you. And then adding to the enforcement that it can also be by observation, not just by complaint.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second.
is the motion that we forward a recommendation of approval with those changes.
Yeah, I think that's how she stated it.
Perfect. We have a motion of approval and a second with the changes here. We'll go for a vote now.
So Chair, typically with Robert's rules, what's in order is any further discussion? Are you opening to further discussion among the commission in the motion?
Okay, any further discussion? I see none. So we will go to a vote. Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes,
Commissioner Mills,
Yes.
Commissioner Polson.
Yes.
Wonderful. Commissioner Steinman, yes. We will forward that recommendation and move on to the next.
All right, so this next agenda item would be the second driveway request. The property owner at 3396 East Antler Way is requesting approval for a second driveway to serve their property. The homeowner is in the process of applying for a lot line adjustment, which would involve purchasing property from the neighboring lot. Currently, significant grading and elevation changes means that extending a driveway to the new property is not feasible. So it's proposed that the addition of a second driveway would better access the proposed garage that would be located on the purchased property. Here's the relevant code sections. 1412 110B1 says that single-family dwellings shall be permitted only one access unless a circular driveway approach is utilized. Later in that same chapter, 1412 150 says, in cases where unusual topographical, aesthetic, or other exceptional conditions or circumstances exist, variations or exceptions to the requirements of this chapter may be approved by the City Council after receiving recommendations from the City's Planning Commission and the Department, provided that the variation or exceptions are not detrimental to the public safety or welfare. Here is a site plan showing the proposed purchase property that's outlined in red. The additional driveway approach is indicated in blue. And then the property owner's existing lot is the lot shown on the left, belonging to Nash Williams. This image shows the grading at the purchased property. It shows a significant difference from the property. On the far right is Nash Williams' current property. And then as some more background, the applicant intends to purchase an adjacent portion of the land from a neighboring property and has submitted a lot line adjustment. The applicant intends to build a pool and garage on the purchased property. After reviewing the geotech studies completed for this property, it appears that extending a driveway from the existing property is not feasible due to grading and elevation changes. The applicant is proposing a new driveway approach on the expanded parcel, which would meet all other standards besides being a second driveway approach. The property does have unusual topography due to the significant grading changes, so it does meet the requirements that would allow City Council to approve a second driveway approach. Staff findings are, again, that exhibits unusual topographical circumstances. The City Council could approve a second driveway. The applicant has been proactive in performing any required geotech studies and is adhering to the sensitive lands evaluation and development standards. And granting a second driveway would allow the property owner to better utilize their property without negatively impacting public safety or welfare. So staff recommends forwarding a recommendation of approval to City Council.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And it looks like we have the applicant here. And if you have anything that you wanted to also discuss on this, we'll welcome you to the stand.
I'm open for discussion. If anybody has questions, I'm glad to approach.
Wonderful. Thank you. We will consider that as we discern amongst ourselves. We will open this up for public comments at this time.
I'm the only one asking comments or questions, but
If you could please come up to the stand and state your name and address.
my name's Shersty Thompson and I live just above Nash. So I was just asking him questions pretty much the whole time I've been here, trying to get a feel for where exactly earthing's going to be placed on his land. And my only concern is just his swimming pool but I think it'll all work out. He's a good guy, so I trust that it's not going to be bad for the neighborhood for them to develop that area. So I'm not opposed to it. So I don't really have any questions other than noise ordinances. That's my only concern in digging and dirt flying because I keep my windows open a lot of the time during the summer. So that's my only big concern.
Great. Thank you. And if you would like to come up for a public comment, we will welcome you.
So on the comments, of course, it's a construction job and there's no way to avoid using backhoes. I'm sorry to say, because well,
And if we can only have just the one at the stand, please speak.
okay, so she got the question out. So the construction would be traditional, 40 hours a week when they would begin. And I'm not sure, we've got a geotechnical study that has been submitted and we've got some other wall construction engineering that will be submitted before we can have a final answer on building the structure where we have and with the setbacks that we've got. Emma has done a preliminary, well, the Planning Commission have done a preliminary review of what our intent is. And I'm understanding that we're mostly okay or probably okay, but for a later visit on that. So anyway, that we can't avoid the construction noise, and in building a swimming pool, it's going to be for my family. The lot is situated in such a way that it'd be hard to make it an independent lot because you wouldn't have the proper setbacks as opposed to doing a lot line adjustment. So it kind of ties it to my property and just be an extension of my backyard. But it's 120 feet, I think, from my current driveway to that other lot. And it wouldn't be very prudent of me to build a garage without a driveway over there. And that's the reason for the request for an exception.
Great.
It would be a roadblock to us. So thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have any questions of me on what we're trying to do?
We may have some questions come up after public comments.
Okay.
Wonderful. Any other public comments?
Hi, my name is Dave Eichel. I live at 3418 East Antler Way. So just next to the lot where Nash wants to start his project. And, I'm in favor of it. I think it would be a good use of that area and bring value to the neighborhood.
Great, thank you.
My name's Michelle Nelson, and I live at 3384 Marinda Way, just above. But I'm quite familiar with the lot, and for the neighborhood, it's a little bit of an eyesore. And for somebody to do something with this particular small piece of property would be, I think, add some value and some stability to the neighborhood by way of retaining the land right there. And I don't have a problem with it. I think it'll be great.
Great, thank you. And it doesn't look like we have anybody online currently, and doesn't look like there's any other public comments.
Can I just ask one more question?
So in public comments, we're not able to answer the questions in this space, and we've closed your public comment. So if you do have questions, I would recommend chatting with staff afterwards in that regards, or with the applicant. Thank you so much. All right, without any further public comments, if there's a motion to close public comments, we will close it now. Moving forward on to discussing amongst the commission. We also discussed this application in the work session prior to this as well. It seems like you're going about the right steps to better the property, from the geotechnical reports, with this being, it seems like a sensitive land space as well, just as far as the angles, it seems like you're going through those right steps. Commissioner Mills, do you want to kind of discuss some of your thought process?
Yeah, I think it sounds like it's a great improvement. I do worry that when we get a 30-degree slope, that the retaining is going to be substantial and the geotech is going to be sizable and financially quite a big commitment. And especially when we're going to make exceptions to our own rules, I do think from a sequencing standpoint, to simply make as a condition of approval that we make sure that the geotech has been completed and that we're assured that whatever tiering happens. I worry sometimes when there's a hope from a landowner for a particular use, to be able to get the garage in the configuration and the pool in the configuration and still to be able to do the retaining and satisfy code. I think there's a lot of homework to be done, but I do see the need for the driveway in order to access the garage if that does happen. But on the possibility that the project doesn't go all the way to completion, I think there's some wisdom in us putting a condition that these things must happen before we approve the driveway. That's my recommendation. And I think we had some possible phrasing for how that would go. And I'm sure other commissioners can add to the conversation.
I think we talked about that the approval of this would be conditional on the issuance of a building permit for the garage. Is that what everyone? Okay.
I feel comfortable with that, especially if this lays dormant for quite some time and, we would have a non-compliance in that, whether it be for a year or 10 years. I think having that contingency in place would make a lot of sense, truly. And it looks like the applicant does have some comments in regards to that. Would you like to come up to the stand?
Yes. Just so you all know, in order to move forward on this, I probably spent about $35,000 to date. In order to get this into the design of the structure one, I'm probably going to be into it $50,000. And so if I don't have some comfort that I'm going to be able to utilize a driveway, which it sounds like we're probably going to allow that, contingent upon getting the building permit, as long as that's the only contingency, because I have to satisfy these guys with that, then it allows me to move forward. But if there's some uncertainty whether I'll get that driveway exception, then it leaves me in a lurch where I'm going to spend an awful lot of money and have no idea if I'm going to be able to build a driveway to a garage. And so that's why, make emphasis, I guess, that it's important to know that I can do that if I get the building permit, satisfy the sensitive land issues, and so on.
And in terms of the process, what we are doing here tonight is saying whether we will forward approval for then the city council to do the final decision-making. So just in terms of the process, just so you're aware.
Okay, so this still wouldn't conclude whether that's allowed to move forward. It would be your recommendation, whatever that might be, to city council.
Correct,
And-
but it's rare for them they often take our counsel on these issues. So
Okay, and when would that city council
that's
meeting
a staff question.
be?
Yes, so it's scheduled for the November 18th meeting.
Okay,
So their next meeting. this
I
item is
think you
scheduled.
mentioned that once before.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they would have a chance to review this at that time?
Correct.
Wonderful. That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and in that regards, I think the main goal here is that the process and the steps are taken so that we're moving forward towards your development and making sure that that development happens. And we don't have a lot line adjustment and work with having two driveways going to nothing. So that's the ultimate goal that we're looking at here. So we are open to the model motions here with any additional contingency plan on that as well.
I move that we forward a recommendation of a conditional approval for a second driveway approach at 3360 Stanley. That condition would be that there was an approved building permit.
Does it need to be, I'm sorry.
We have a motion.
For the garage.
Yes,
Building permit for
For,
garage.
for a garage at that location.
Second,
Wonderful. So
can we restate it to make sure that we captured it? Somebody want to make sure that, I don't care who wants to restate it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
sure.
Good at restating it.
I move that we forward a recommendation of approval to the city council for this project conditional on the issuance of a building permit for the garage based on the findings of the staff memo and attachments dated November 5, 2025.
Wonderful.
I'll stand by my second.
Do we have any discussion? No. No discussion. We will move to voting. Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith is not here. Commissioner Lugo,
Yes.
Commissioner Mills,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes,
Yes.
Commissioner Polson,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Steinman, yes. Moving forward, we have section 4.0 consent agenda approval for October 1, 2025, Planning Commission minutes.
I move for approval of the October 1, 2025 Planning Commission minutes.
I have a correction. So on page 1, under 2.0, it says Chair Steinman. That should read Chair Anderson.
I'll accept that as a friendly amendment to the motion.
I would agree with that.
Are we looking for a second? I second that.
Second, wonderful.
With the
So-
amendment.
And we will do a collective vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for putting up with my first commission as chair tonight. This is year 2 or 3 for me on the commission. We also want to thank Commissioner Anderson for her year of being chair and her service on the commission. And we will miss her as chair as well. And grateful for the public comments tonight and your involvement. We do want to end this with one final motion.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.